Today we're joined by a legend in the business, a guy that I've been trying to do an interview with for about 20 years, and I wasn't able to locate you, but we finally did. And we are here with none other than Lance Von Erich. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. One of my very first questions that I like to ask everybody is, were you a wrestling fan growing up?
Me?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
So how did you discover professional wrestling?
I was at a at a golf course. I married a Lebanese girl. I was in the States at the time. I married a Lebanese girl. Her father took me golfing, and I met David Manning.
Right.
And I just won a bodybuilding contest, so I had like really huge legs, and he was like following me around the whole golf course, and he was like not looking at me, but he was looking at my legs.
Right.
So I kind of thought he was
right
maybe gay.
Right.
And he said, "Have you ever thought about wrestling?" I'm like, "No."
Right.
And he says, "Listen, here's my card. I'm legitimate. Come see me at the world famous sportatorium."
Right. And you had no idea what it was.
And it wasn't so world famous looking.
Right.
It looked like a dump. But I went to visit him there, and he says, "You know, you can make a lot of money.
Right.
And you know, give us a try." So that's how I kind of got in the business.
So did you live in Texas as a child?
Part of my life, I lived in the States. Part of my life, I didn't.
Okay. What was childhood like for you?
Good. My dad was a physician.
Right.
And, yeah, it was good.
Well, obviously, you said David Manning discovered you when you guys were playing golf, and obviously you were always renowned for your look and physique. What made you start to go to the gym and work out?
Good question. I actually met a guy that was like a really big guy, and he says, "Why don't you come to the gym? I think you can actually be like, you know, you've got a lot of great genetics." And
Right.
He was like I don't remember his name, but he was like a Olympia competitor. I don't think he was the best, but he was like, at least he competed, right?
Right.
And he says, "Come," and I did.
Now, was this around the same time that you got into the pro
No,
wrestling
it was
business?
like 3 years before.
Around how old were you around this period of time?
Maybe 18.
Okay. When you were starting into the bodybuild world, how prevalent were steroids at the time?
Huge.
Yeah, especially in the 80s, right?
Yeah. Well, especially now too, actually.
Oh, I'm sure.
They've always been prevalent.
Right, right. Did you have an athletic background before pro wrestling came calling, besides the bodybuilding?
No, not really.
Was it, did you know Jeep Swenson too, before you got into the business,
Yeah, I did
right?
actually. Well, actually, funny enough, I went to university in San Antonio, and I had met him there first.
Right.
And we became friends. He wasn't nearly what he was when, when we got into the wrestling. And he said, "Do you remember me from SAC, San Antonio College?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But, he was like 240 then. And when I saw him the next time, he was like 340.
Yeah, he was all gassed.
He was huge.
Yeah.
Good guy. I liked him a lot.
What was your major? What did you go to school for?
Business.
Business. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Did you ever cross paths with any of the other guys in Texas before you got into the business?
Nope.
Besides Jeep? Okay.
David Manning, that's it.
That was it. So what were your first memories of David Manning after the golf course, and he took you to meet Fritz for the first time, or did he say?
Yep.
Okay.
And they said that they were going to send me to some place to learn how to wrestle.
Right.
And they needed somebody to, take David Von Erich's place. Not his place, but they were short a person.
Right.
In the family. And they sent me off to, to Portland. Where I really liked working in Portland. And I knew nothing. But I really liked working in Portland because, it was a great state and great wrestling fans. And I lived with a guy named Billy Jack Haynes, who I'm sure you know.
Very well.
Now he's in prison.
Yeah, it sucks. We did a lot of interviews with Billy Jack, and different kind of guy, but I wouldn't want to mess with him, put it that way.
We became very good friends, and it's kind of crazy because, if you talk to people that knew me before, he's always been like, "Yeah, Lance was a great guy, blah, blah, blah." If you speak to Kevin Von Erich, he had a lot of animosity because You know, I kind of portrayed them. He
Right.
thought.
I'm going to ask you all about that coming up. Too.
Yeah.
100%.
But and I didn't. It was just I wasn't making. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. But with Billy Jack, he was just really helpful.
Was he one of your mentors when you first got into the business?
He was exactly, very much so. He told me I shouldn't go to Dallas.
He wanted you to stay up in that territory.
Yeah, and so did also Don Owen. They all said, you know, you're going to get eaten up there. They're not going to treat you right. Blah blah blah. And so, hindsight, I should have stayed.
Right. What was Billy Jack like outside the ring around that period?
Great
of time?
guy.
Good guy.
He's one of the best guys I ever met. We had a big falling out.
Right.
But I love the guy. Really.
Who taught you to take bumps and stuff like that as far as when you first got into the business?
Billy Jack. I started in Dallas.
Right.
And, you know, whenever, my first match was with Jake the Snake Roberts.
Wow.
You know, and I knew nothing. He just like,
right.
I was there for like a month. But nobody wanted to train, you know.
So you didn't go to the school or anything. You were learning on the road as.
Yeah. Fritz told me, come like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Right.
And we'll have people down there to teach you like the Freebirds and, you know, Jake the Snake and, but like many people. And none of them ever showed up, you know.
So you got to pretty much.
I had to, you know, it was very difficult. And the Von Erichs, you know, they had, Fritz had like Kevin come and teach me, but Kevin was never there.
Right.
You know, he'd come for 5 minutes and say, okay, we'll just hit the ropes and let's go home.
So you were there for about a month, pretty much learning on I guess, the house shows. And were you on TV at all at that period of time, or just
no,
not
at all.
Okay. So you went up to Don Owens and you started getting trained up there a little bit by Billy Jack. What was your first impressions of Don Owens as a promoter?
I thought he was crazy. I liked him. He was
right.
crazy. He had a lot of energy.
Who were some of the other boys that were in the locker room around that period of time? Rip Oliver?
Yeah, Rip Oliver. There was...
what year was this, maybe?
85.
Okay. So Piper was already gone, I think, right?
Yeah, he was gone.
Okay.
Well, let me think here. Bobby Jaggers. Ed Waskowski.
Right.
Jerry Gray.
Yep.
Billy Two Eagles.
Right.
Don Running Bear. Steve Pardee. To name it.
Just a couple of guys, yeah.
A couple of guys, yeah.
So basically you're up there working, and then did Fritz send you up there to get some, exposure, or is it just to get better in the ring? And he said,
both.
We're going to bring you back after X amount of, months?
Well, they were desperate, so I came back much sooner than I should have.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.